Hi, Cindy Appleman here from the Appleman Group, sitting down with Dana Garner. She is the owner of Garner Behavior Services. Thank you for joining us, Dana.
Thank you.
We're so excited to be doing this.
I'm really excited to be here.
So I'm excited to actually get to know you on the business level. You're personally a great friend of ours, and I'm super excited to learn a little bit about your company. And so I'm going to ask you a few questions if that's okay.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Who is Dana Garner? What makes her tick? What makes you get out of bed in the morning?
Well, a lot of things, mostly the dogs that get me up in the morning. So, because they wake up around 5:30, 6 o'clock. So I do love my animals. I've got a couple dogs and cats that wake me up in the morning. I also have 2 kids and soon to be husband. So my fiance, Nate. And what really gets me up in the morning, though, is my job. I've been working with children with autism and disabilities for close to 30 years now, which I hate to say it because it kind of ages me.
Well, I was thinking you only look like you were
know.
35.
I wish. But yeah, so it's been about 30 years now. And I started early in the field as soon as I graduated out of my undergrad with a bachelor's in psych. And I started working with a child with autism, which back then it was only a sentence in the psych books. You had no clue what you were getting into. But the first client, I fell in love. And things just snowballed from there. Ended up getting my master's in applied behavior analysis, and I knew I wanted to be a board certified behavior analyst. So I sat for the certification, and then I went on and got my PhD in special education, and I was an assistant professor at Penn State for 10 years and decided to open the center. So just my work and my family and everything just keeps me moving and keeps me going every day because it's constantly changing and it's constantly challenging. I'll say that. But every day it's fun, it's engaging, and there's always something new to do. So I absolutely love it.
Oh, awesome. That's so great. So where did you attend college?
Well, I got my undergrad out at IUP.
Okay.
I got my bachelor's in psychology. And that I enjoyed because it was close enough to home to get home, but far enough away. And I just wanted a bachelor's in psych because, I used to watch Frasier. So I figured I could live on the coast and, just make lots of money, talking to people. But then I realized with a bachelor's in psych, you can't do that. You really can't do much of anything. And my first job was as a TSS, which in Williamsport is basically a one-on-one therapist. Mm-hmm. And that's where I met my first client with autism. And I moved on. My master's I got from Penn State Harrisburg, and that was in applied behavior analysis. And then as I went on with my education, I wanted to get my doctorate. So I went to Penn State campus in State College and got my PhD in special education.
That's a lot of education.
Well, what's fun with each is with my master's, I had my oldest a week before my last year of my master's started. So I missed one class of my last year of my master's. And with my PhD, I started that when my youngest was 6 months old. So both my master's and my PhD were a lot of sleepless nights and doing homework late into the night because I had 1 or 2 kids to also raise at the same time.
Well, I know for a fact from knowing you that you work 80 to 90 hours a week. That's nothing. That is like a simple, 80 hours this week. How many? Dana, are you coming here? No, I'm working. No. I'm at the facility at 5 a.m. So I know because I've experienced it with how hard you work. So
it's my life. It's what I've always done. It's what I've always enjoyed.
That's awesome. What exactly is Garner Behavior Services, LLC?
Garner Behavior Services, first of all, is the accumulation of about 20 years of a dream. So I have friends that knew me 20, 30 years ago that comment now saying, yeah, you talked about this then. This was something I talked about way back when we were just therapists. So what it is we are a center-based therapy facility. We provide ABA therapy, which is applied behavior analysis. And the kids come to us. We're open Monday through Thursday right now, but in this fall, we are going to be opening up full week, Monday through Friday. Our sessions run 9 to 2. And when the kids come in, we do a pseudo preschool schedule where we do circle time, arts and crafts. We have snack together. We all have lunch together. And then we intermix table time as well, so we can really focus on some skills that the kids need to learn. And some of these skills they can only really learn in that one-on-one intensive session. And then they get together with their peers and we generalize those skills with their peers. Like next week, we're having Dr. Seuss Day, so they're going to make a concession stand and do a movie day. And because a lot of our kids have difficulty even sitting through a movie and doing things that some of their neurotypical peers do naturally, we really have to work on those skills here.
So we talked a little bit earlier about your passion for this, so like what made you, what's your why? I mean, I know you said why you get up in the morning, and it seems to me like that this is just your passion. It's what you love to do. You love to take a child with autism from here to there, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about next. So one, what is autism?
Autism is a diagnosis that is made based on the behaviors that the diagnostician sees. So children with autism tend to have communication issues. So they might not be speaking, or they might not understand what's being said to them. They have socialization issues. So they're not going to play with other peers. They're not going to play with toys the way kids would play with toys. And they have what's called stereotypical behavior. So you might see these kids toe walk, engage in behaviors that are not typical, like line things up, flap hands, engage in repetitive behaviors. And a lot of times all these behaviors show up around 2 years of age, but they can show up and become more prominent as they get older. And some kids will have communication, but poor socialization skills. So they might be able to use words to express themselves, but not know how to engage others. So autism itself is a huge spectrum. So you might have children that show extreme delays and children that are just showing little delays in those areas. Okay. And so it can be difficult to identify, and that's why you need to see someone who's skilled at identifying those skills and be tested.
So when you're talking about different levels of autism, so Asperger's, is that a form of autism? Or, I mean, because I've heard that word a lot, and I'm like, oh, really, what does that mean? I have no idea what it means. I just know that I hear, oh, he was diagnosed with autism, and then I hear someone else say, oh, my child has Asperger's, and I get confused because I'm just a normal person not understanding all that stuff, there's got to be different levels and forms of autism, and are they classified as this is this type of autism, this is this type, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you, what does all that mean?
Well, in the DSM-4, they had the different classifications like that. So you would have, more severe autism, that a child might be diagnosed with just straight autism, or a child might be diagnosed with Asperger's, which would be a more high-functioning autism, where they would have language but not social skills. The DSM-5, which is the diagnostic manual, changed that up, and now they have level 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And that's how they diagnose it now. So Asperger's isn't a technical diagnosis at this point, though a lot of people still use the term.
I've heard the spectrum. So, but I didn't hear you talk about the spectrum now. What does it mean if someone says, well, my child is on the spectrum?
It means their child has some level of autism. So their child may not have any communication, not be able to socialize with other kids at all, may not play with toys, may have a lot of repetitive behaviors, may have a strict adherence to routine, or their child may have a good use of language and may only have a couple of repetitive behaviors, may just have some difficulties socializing, or their child might lie somewhere in between. And that's the spectrum. It's no two children at our center are alike. Every single one is different. And that's what makes it so exciting, because every child comes in very different with their own set of skills that they need to work on, but also their own set of skills that they're so good at and their own personalities, which it's really fun to watch their personalities grow.
Yes, I've heard that there are autistic children who are highly intelligent. Like they're super, super smart on this level, but on a different level, they just have no skill. So that sounds like that's what you're referring to.
Oh, we've seen 2-year-olds that could do crazy puzzles or who can draw amazing pictures, but have no language.
Yeah.
So it's crazy the difference that you see, because you really have to work with the skills they have, and that's what we try to do. We try to meet them where they're at and use the skills that they have to build on that while also working on the skills they don't have.
So if I'm a parent and I suspect my child might be on the spectrum for autism, what would I do?
The first thing I would recommend to the parent is don't wait. A lot of parents will wait thinking that their kids are going to grow out of it, or my cousin's son was a late talker, or we have late talkers in our family. Don't wait, because what happens is as the kids grow older, if they do have an issue that needs addressed, now that child's older, now that child has had all these years of practicing not talking and not getting therapy. So if you think there's any issues at all, you need to get that early intervention and that early therapy. So try to get a diagnosis. Contact your intermediate unit, contact early intervention, get a screening with your primary care physician, but try to get an early diagnosis so you can get services. At least have a professional diagnose or look at your child to see if there's something that you need to do next.
So that would start with you're calling your primary care provider and saying, hey, I think maybe my child could have autism. I'd like to have him tested. Is that how it starts out?
Most primary care, PCP, primary care professionals have like an MChat, or you can even Google it online, some kind of screening tool at your doctor's office to at least be able to go through a questionnaire. I would start with that and move forward, but I wouldn't let it go. You want to treat every case of delay as if it's the worst one ever, because it could be. And you don't want to wait a couple years later wishing you had.
So can you give us maybe like a success story or two of a child that came into the facility with their family? And I don't know if the family sits through sessions too or not, but a success story of a child came in and this was the diagnosis, and by the time he was released or she was released from our facility, he started here, but when he left, he could do all these things. Do you have stories like that all the time?
How much time do you have?
Okay, well, just give us one or two.
We just had 7 kids that went to school last year. We had parents emailing us back that thanked us, like the schools actually thanked us because the kids went in either toilet trained, because we do toilet training as well. We also help kids learn how to eat with, spoon, fork, utensils, things like that, because we get a lot of kids that still do finger food. So toilet training is our big success story. One year we did 5 kids in 1 week. So our toilet training program is fairly quick. We normally have kids toilet trained in a week or less. We've had kids go into school without supports or with minimal supports. So that's always a success story. We've had children come in with 0 communication, 0 sounds, no method of communication, that leave us either with a talking device like an iPad where they become fairly fluent and be able to ask for what they want, or with words and able to talk. I just walked by one of our little ones because I was doing an assessment on one of our staff, and she was with one of our 3-year-olds who came in with no sound, making no sounds at all. And he's labeling stuff in books. And he said something the other day about, turn the light on, because the light was off in the one room. We have a disco light in our one room because the kids like the dance party. And he said, turn the light on. And he's talking like another 3-year-old you'd see on the street. And I was amazed because I don't get to see him too often. He's not one of my personal clients. And I was like, this is amazing. He's only been here maybe 6 months. And to see that growth, with the intensive therapy is a lot of fun. So we see a lot of that. We had another little 2-year-old come in, and the first time after, I think it was the first week, he was leaving, and one of our therapists had him saying "mama" when he left, and mom's just crying in the waiting room. And so we see stuff like that. That's our daily. That's what keeps us going. That's our daily thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna cry now. That's an awesome story.
Like I was in the Mummers Parade recently, and one of our kids was yelling at me from the sidelines, and I'm looking around, and all I saw was a bunch of neurotypical kids, and I didn't even see him until he ran out, and he's like, "Hi, Miss Dana," and I realized that was one of our kids that had graduated, and I didn't even recognize him because he just kind of mixed in with all the other kids that were sitting there. And so there's a lot of success stories. Each kid grows at their own pace, but our main focus is the communication and the socialization so that they can play, they can interact, they can sit down and have lunch without having behaviors, without running around, because they're going to need this stuff when they go to school to be able to interact with their peers. So we're working on getting them so that they can go to kindergarten and just have fun with their peers.
So what is the average age? I know you have a couple of facilities, and in this facility, I think you said is 2 to 5-year-olds.
Yeah, we have a facility here in Williamsport and one in Lewisburg. Both of our center-based facilities work with children 2 to 5, and we don't go into school with our kids. So I think it's very important for parents to rely on the IEP and the legal process that comes with the IEP. So we will support that and help parents with that, but we do want parents to follow through on their IEPs when their children do go to school. For school-age kids, we will do home hours for them, and we are going to be starting a social skills group for children 6 to 10 this spring. At the Williamsport Center, we are hoping to do that over the summer at both centers, and then carry that into fall and spring at both centers if all goes well. So we're working on that as well. But both centers, at least for the center-based, because we don't want a 10-year-old in the center working with the 2-year-olds.
Yeah, makes sense. So what is the average time a family will spend with their child attending your center? So the child comes in, is it Monday through Thursday, or is it Monday, Tuesday, or is it... So if I have a child that's going to be attending your center, what would be my expectation? Every day, Monday through Thursday, 9 to 2, or is it, that sounds like it's a full-time, like he's in full-time therapy or and for 4 days a week, or does it all fluctuate?
It fluctuates because it's medically prescribed. All of our services are insurance-based, so it has to be medically prescribed. So for example, if we get a 2-year-old in, 2-year-olds nap, we don't nap here because we're therapy. So our 2-year-olds might only come in half a day, 2 days a week to start. As they get older, they might attend more. We've got some kids that do attend full weeks, and we've got other kids that are now fading out into daycares and preschools, and our staff will follow them for the first couple of times to make sure everything's okay, make sure everything's generalizing to the daycares and preschools, and then we fade out of that as they become more and more independent. So it all depends on the medical necessity, and also sometimes parent schedule as well, because some parents, have other therapies going on for their child, so their child can't attend every day. So we do try to work with the parents on that.
So if there is a family in need, and it sounds like it's insurance-based, medically prescribed, is there something then on the state level that would also help with the investment of putting their child through your facility?
Yeah, first of all, if a parent wants services, they have to have an autism diagnosis for their child. So that early detection is important. Get to your primary care physician, get screened, get a diagnosis. That's going to be first importance. Second of all, we do accept most major commercial insurances like Aetna, Highmark, Blue Cross, Cigna, insurances like that. Like Cumming, Clinton, we are in MA, medical assistance, so we do accept that. At this center, we are also working on accepting MA in our Lewisburg facility.
So it sounds like there could be several families in need of your services, and if they go through the proper steps, do you have openings for new clients?
We actually do. Right now, we only have 2 children that are waiting to go full time. So we have a couple staff that are coming on board and going through orientation at this point. At this moment, we don't have an official wait list, We have a couple parents that have voiced interest, but we don't have an official wait list at this time. So if parents are interested, they would need to contact us and we can give them our referral packet and they could fill that out and let us know whether or not they are interested. I do recommend parents do a walkthrough and come and see the location because we have children that do run. So we lock our doors. And I know how important it is when you have a child that doesn't talk to know what kind of people you're leaving them with and where you're leaving them because it's your most prized possession. And I wouldn't want to leave my child in a locked facility that can't come home and tell me what happened and what's going on. So I do think it's extremely important for parents to look around, to check different facilities out, to go through, to speak to people. So I don't have parents just, hey, I'm going to have my child go there, but they do need to come talk to us, meet us, get to know us a little bit, see what we do, and understand what we do before they bring their child here.
So if someone might have the heart's desire to get into this field, what is the educational requirements to do this?
Well, our technicians can come in as long as they're 18 years old and have a high school diploma or equivalent. And we do on-site training. We have about a month-long orientation. So it's about a 4-week orientation that they go through where they have on-site online training and then on-site coaching. And then while they're here, we also have a master's level staff at each center that does continued supervised sessions and continued training. And when they are here then as they're working, they can also study to get their RBT certification, which is Registered Behavior Technician. Once they become RBT, there's also a pay increase with that. At each center, we also have center leads, so they can also move up into that position as well. Our master's level staff, if they have a license such as a licensed behavior specialist, or if they are BCBAs, they can move into the consultant position.
So do you have a website or a link, and are you hiring right now? And do you have a website or a link for people who might want to apply for a position here?
We're always hiring. We're always hiring, we're always training, we're always looking for people that have that passion. This is not for everybody. We work with sometimes difficult children, so this is not for everybody. But if you like the challenge and you love working for small kids with small children, it really is a lot of fun and it really is rewarding. Our website is www.gbsautism.com, so gbsautism.com. We're also on Facebook, GBS LLC, and YouTube, Garner Behavior Services. So I have a training site on there as well that I've been throwing up some training videos.
So what are the future plans for GBS? Are you going to expand, stay where you are, just expand your current facilities, look for more facilities to open, what are your future plans?
Our future plans is, first I'd like to fill the centers a little bit and make sure we have good solid staff at both centers. Make sure that we are very well trained and providing the services to the local community. We really want to amp up our community outreach. We already do quite a bit of community outreach, but we want to amp that up even more. And we might in the future expand and open one more center, but our goal is really to stay small. We don't want to become one of the huge companies that's nationwide or statewide. I've worked for companies like that and you really lose touch, and I don't want that. I know every one of my employees by name. I know their backgrounds. I know what they need when we're low staff. I know or low kids. I know who to call first. I know who wants the day off. I know who's in school and when their classes are and what they're studying. And I want to keep it like that. And they all know each other. So it's really a family, and I like that feel. I don't want to get so big that we don't have that feel, because I think it helps us relate to each other, to the clients, and to their families even better. And then when we do more of our community outreach, it's going to help us reach out to our communities.
Now you're doing something with UPMC. You're I saw that on your Facebook page. You've got something going on with UPMC. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, we've been working with UPMC. We're helping out as they are with a local support group, SASSY, SASSY. They do a parent support group in Williamsport the first Thursday of the month, and that is being held on West 3rd Street at the Loyal Plaza. I'm not even sure if it's called the Loyal Plaza anymore, but it's where the Hobby Lobby and Giant is. UPMC building's kind of in the middle. Look
Yes.
for the purple sign. So the meetings are going to be held there on the first Thursday of the month at 5:30, and we're going to provide childcare and help out with that. We are also helping out with the autism educational event coming April 15th, and that will be at the Liberty Arena. And this fall, there's also a community block party, which is typically held at the Liberty Arena in September or October, but I don't have a date for that yet. And UPMC tends to sponsor a lot of these events, and we are networking with them to also assist and help out and volunteer.
That's awesome. Definitely very community-based, very community-oriented, which we all like that. We're all small business owners, and we love helping each other out. And even these big companies like UPMC, they step in, they help us. I mean, they help us, we help them, and it works out really well for everybody.
Yeah, we live here. I grew up here.
Yeah.
You know, this is our home.
Yep.
So, and this is the home of our clients, and this is where they grow up. So it's important that we're a part of the community.
Absolutely. Last question, Dana. What do you want everyone to know about GBS services? What's one last thing you would want them to know about you, your facility, your services, your company? Tell us what that might be.
I think one thing I would want everybody to know is that even though we implement therapy-based and applied behavior analysis, it's not your granddad's ABA. You know, ABA is a science and it changes over the years, and things I was trained in 20 years ago are not what we do today. You know, it's softer, it's fun, it's engaging. Like, we have pictures from the kids and activities all over the walls, and I mean, you had a chance to walk through our center. It's fun, it's engaging, it works from the child's likes and interests and what they want to do, and you know, but we're still using the science to build behavior and to teach them new things. So some people will be very anti-ABA because of what they've read or learned 20 years ago. That's not today. I'm not the same person I was 20 years ago, thank goodness. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. And the therapy also changes. And I'm so happy to have been able to change and see the therapy grow over the years and learn with it, because it's just gotten better. And I've watched the kids grow and change with it. And I've been so excited to be a part of this field and just to watch the staff grow and learn, and excited when we implement a procedure and it works, even though we know it's going to work. But it's like, oh my gosh, did you see that? It worked. It's like, yeah, I know it works, even though we know it's going to work ahead of time. So that excitement is still there. You know, and ABA is great. It works. I've seen it work. I know it's worked over the years, and I love implementing it in this type of environment. And early intervention is of just utmost importance. I mean, I can't even stress that enough. Just the early intervention, which is why at this point in my life, I'm really focusing on the little ones, because early intervention is where you're going to see the most growth, the quickest growth, and not just with the kids, but with the parents, because we do involve the parents quite as much as possible with what we do. Like, the parents will come in, the parents will watch. We have meetings with the parents. We go to their home. We have parents in our center. So it's just open up to it.
I'm going to say this. Dana, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I look forward to hearing more about your successes.
Thank you.